Let's get real. This was never about them. They didn't show up to save you. They didn't stay to love you. But somehow they left fingerprints all over your soul. It's like their presence carved marks into you that you never gave permission for. And still, you're left wondering, why? Why does life throw you into the arms of someone you feel everything for, but can't ever actually have? That kind of connection, raw, intense, unforgettable, it feels sacred. But it's not just painful because it's unreachable. It's painful because it wakes something in you that's been sleeping, something deep, something that's been waiting for this very storm. Maybe you thought it was love. Maybe you thought this person was it, the answer to your ache. But Jung would say otherwise. He'd tell you that this wasn't about them at all. It was about you. That person? They were never just a person. They were a symbol, a mirror, a reflection of everything you've buried, denied, or refused to confront. That intensity you felt wasn't about romance, it was about recognition. Recognition of a part of yourself you've ignored. You didn't fall for them, you fell for the part of you they unlocked. And let's go deeper. Why that person? Why not someone else? Why the sudden gravity when your eyes met? Because this wasn't fate trying to bring you love, it was life handing you a scalpel, not a rose. That connection wasn't designed to complete you, it was meant to slice you open, to show you the wounds you've dressed up with distractions. It was never about living a happy ending, it was about revealing your beginning, your real beginning. That impossible love, it wasn't cruel, it was surgical. It cut right to the spot you've refused to touch. It made you feel alive, right before it reminded you what you couldn't have. And that contradiction? It was intentional. That ache you feel is the exact force meant to turn you inward. Life doesn't play around when it wants you to wake up, so it sends you someone you can't keep, because if you could, you'd never have to look at the gaping silence within. Jung talked about this, the anima, the animus, the parts of ourselves we project onto others. You didn't love them, you loved the feeling, the idea, the part of you that they stirred awake. And it's brutal, because we chase the symbol thinking it's the solution, but it's not. It's just the messenger, the mirror, the thing that forces you to ask, what am I missing in me that I see so clearly in them? Maybe they reminded you of something you never had, a type of love that never arrived, a face that felt like home, even though the door was always locked. And that pain you're feeling, it's not about rejection, it's about awakening. That ache is the sound of your soul trying to scream above the noise, trying to point you back to the place where your real healing begins, within. But it hurts, because when they leave, all you're left with is the echo, the absence. And suddenly the silence is so loud it forces you to hear the things you've been trying to outrun. You realize that all along you weren't trying to get them to stay, you were trying to feel whole. And that's the twist. The soulmate? It's not the person who brings you peace, it's the one who brings chaos, who ignites every buried fear, every dormant longing. They're the storm. They don't show up to heal you, they show up to break you open. Because without that earthquake, you'd stay numb, comfortable, sleeping. And when the impossible person crashes into your life, it's not destiny, it's strategy. Life is precision. That encounter wasn't a love story, it was a wake-up call. And you felt it, the anxiety, the obsession, the panic. That wasn't love. That was your nervous system recognizing danger. Not because they were dangerous, but because they held up a mirror to the part of you that you've spent your whole life avoiding. So what do you do with that mirror? You stare, you tremble, you want to look away. But deep down, you know, it's time. That impossible person was never the point. It was never about being with them. It was about what they showed you. Their calm made you realize your chaos. Their confidence revealed your confusion. Their love, real or imagined, held up a spotlight to the parts of yourself you've never learned to love. You think the pain is about losing them. It's not. It's about realizing what you never built within yourself. And here's where the trap gets even sharper. You start to cling, not to the person, but to the feeling. You romanticize the story, the what-ifs, the timing, the fantasy of it all. You rewind the moments like they mean something eternal, but they don't. That story was never your salvation. It was your lesson. You didn't meet them to be completed. You met them so you could wake up. Because life doesn't waste time. It doesn't toss people into your path at random. It's precise. That impossible love was a scalpel, cutting through layers of delusion you didn't even know you had. You didn't need another partner. You needed a pattern breaker, someone to shock your system, someone to make the old pain impossible to ignore. And when you finally start to see it for what it is, a new kind of heartbreak begins. Not over them, but over how long you abandoned yourself. Over how many times you chased validation instead of building value. Over how many people you let inside your life just to fill an emptiness you never even named. Jung called this the shadow, the pieces of yourself you won't accept, the traits you suppress, the wounds you carry in silence. And here's the kicker. The more you deny those parts, the louder the projection becomes. That person you obsessed over, they probably embodied what you either feared or secretly longed to become. Their freedom, their stillness, their mystery, maybe even their indifference. It wasn't attraction, it was recognition. You were drawn to what you haven't claimed in yourself. And now comes the part no one talks about. Once they're gone, once there's no more attention to chase, no more drama to replay, you're left face to face with the only person who can do the healing, yourself. And that's terrifying, because when the illusion disappears, the silence kicks in, and suddenly you're alone with your thoughts, with your shadow, with the version of you that's been quietly waiting behind every heartbreak. That's when the real battle begins, not the one to get them back, not the one to understand what went wrong, but the fight to reclaim yourself, to finally stop chasing reflections and start building substance. The impossible love? It wasn't a mistake. It was the universe shaking you awake, not gently, but violently. Because sometimes, the soul only hears the scream, not the whisper. And here's the deeper truth. The person you couldn't have might have just been the doorway, not the destination. They weren't here to give you peace. They were here to rattle your core. And once they leave, that echo isn't emptiness. It's an invitation. So the question becomes, will you keep running in circles? Will you keep calling projection destiny? Will you keep confusing anxiety for chemistry? Or will you finally stop, sit in the silence, and face the only thing you've been avoiding, you? If you choose to sit still, you'll notice something strange. The craving starts to fade. The silence stops feeling like punishment and begins to feel like possibility. That's the moment you remember who you were before the wound and who you could be beyond it. The impossible love flips from poison to medicine, from cage to key. Once you understand the pattern, you can put it down. No anger, no blame, just clarity. And clarity is power. Because when you stop needing someone else to validate your worth, you free up every ounce of energy that used to chase, cling, and catastrophize. You start pouring that energy into the only relationship that lasts a lifetime, the one with yourself. You build the calm you once projected onto them. You become the confidence you thought they held. You generate the passion you believed only they could spark. It's not easy, but it's real, and it's yours. Here's where the universe stages its quiet encore. It sends new people, new opportunities, but this time you meet them without the ache. You're not looking for completion, you're looking for companionship. Love stops being a rescue mission and starts being a walking side-by-side adventure. No more idols, no more saviors, just humans sharing a path. And that's exactly why I poured everything I've learned into the formula of awakening. If you feel something stirring right now, if you're done replaying the same heartbreak loop, grab the ebook in the first pinned comment. It's a straight shot to deeper self-work, packed with tools to turn this awareness into daily action. Start today and watch how fast your inner world rearranges itself. But before you click away, I want you to stamp this moment in your memory. Drop a single line in the comments. I've understood the message. No explanations, no essays, just that phrase. It's your signal that you're done sleepwalking through projections and ready to own your reflection. While you're there, hit subscribe so these truth jolts keep finding you, and smash the like button so more people stumble into their wake-up call. Remember, not everyone who enters your life is meant to stay, but everyone is meant to reveal something. The soul doesn't break from love, it breaks from self-forgetting. And tonight, you remembered. Keep walking, this time awake.